Good morning, everybody. Dave Schmidt along with Matt Nestor and producer Tom Warner on a kind of be careful if you're out there today. It's not very good road conditions. It's hopefully going to continue to warm up a little bit so it won't be so icy. But right now we're going to talk some playoff football, Class 3A style. The Byron Tigers, folks, are one game away from going to Champaign and playing in the state championship game. And with us we have head football coach Jeff Boyer. First of all, Coach, congratulations on a great playoff run so far.
Thanks a lot, Dave. Appreciate it.
You know, when I wrote the story the other day, I put down that the Cinderella wears orange and black. I mean, you've had to listen to probably a lot of people saying, what in the world is the Byron Tigers doing in the state playoffs? I think you've answered them pretty well. You have got to be really proud of your kids right now.
Oh, absolutely. We've grown up over the course of the season. I mean, we were young at the beginning and had a little bit of a rough start, but our kids have really grown up over the season, and we're playing our best football now going into the playoffs. And, good things happen when you peak at the right time.
You know, how much does that help? You know, when you're younger like that, you struggle early on, but you get hot late. Now you've had, a bunch of extra games to get going. I mean, you turned what was, a nice young team into really a good veteran team at this point, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so. I think our kids have confidence, and, especially after that Newman game last weekend, our kids feel like they can play with anybody, and we're riding high and having a great time.
If Las Vegas would have had a line on that game with Newman, I could have made a lot of money off of you guys. I don't think anybody expected you to do that. What did you do to beat them? I mean, that's the number one seed, and a lot of people thought maybe they'd go on to win the state championship this year.
Yeah, if I remember right, I don't think anyone in the papers were picking us, so you're probably right. But, just match their physicality was the key to the game, and I think the Big Northern, that prepares us for that. We play teams like Winnebago, Stillman, Oregon, and they play a physical style of football. And, it wasn't anything new for us to see that in the playoffs against Sterling Newman.
And how much of that, everybody looked at Newman as a favorite when the brackets came out, but how much of it sometimes just comes down to a matchup that, maybe in the scheme of things, maybe they were a better team over the course of the season, but it's just the right matchup for your team?
Yeah, I think that did play into it a little bit. I mean, you look at the score against Oregon the week before, was a blowout, and we felt like we matched up a little bit better than what they did, just because we were a little bit bigger than they were, and thought we could match their physicality.
When you look at the game, Josh Larson, I noticed, had 3 interceptions. You had to be excited about him getting that last one, especially.
Oh, absolutely. We knew he was a player all year long, and he's come up with big play after big play for us this year. And, he had an ankle injury against Winnebago week 8, but he's come back from that and now is 100%. And, 3 interceptions in the quarterfinals, that was a huge game for him.
Unfortunately, beating Newman doesn't get you to the state title. You still got to play another game. What do you guys look at when you see Wilmington today?
It's actually a lot of the same as what we saw last week against Sterling Newman. I mean, they're a physical team. They're going to come at you. Probably a little bit more misdirection than what Sterling Newman brought to the table. But, we see that every day in practice. We pull a lot of guards on a lot of things we do, and we feel comfortable about seeing that. We see it every day in practice.
I talked to Coach Reentz, and we did a podcast with him the other day. He has a lot of respect for you now. Does it scare you now that everybody says, "Oh, they beat Newman. Maybe we better be ready when we play Byron"? I mean, it's a little bit different preparation for him now than what it might have been a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to creep up on anybody at this point. You're in the state semifinals. One more win gets you into the championship, and Coach Reentz, he does a great job over there at Wilmington. We played them 2 years ago in the playoffs, and we're well aware of what they do and how well coached they are. And, it doesn't surprise me that he would say something like that.
Regardless of what happens today, you guys are coming off of a rough year last year. You knew you had a young team going in. Is this, a place you thought you guys would be at this point of the season?
I think I felt like we had the capability to be a pretty good team this year, if everything worked out okay and we stayed healthy. We started 1-2, so you start looking around and going, what's going on here? But our kids have really, really come together as a team, and our juniors have grown up, and I'll tell you what, our seniors have grown into great leaders this year. And, when that happens, here are the results.
We're talking right now to Byron head football coach Jeff Boyer. They're playing Wilmington today. They're one game away from going to state. And you know what? In playoffs, sometimes you got to make some tough calls. You made a tough call last Saturday when you decided to take a safety deep in your own territory. Can you give us a little bit of background on when you decided to do that and what made you do it? Because it turned out to be brilliant, Coach. It was a great move.
Yeah, Coach O'Neill and I were on the headphones talking about the situation. We got the pick at about the 1 yard line. We would have been in better shape if he would have fallen into the end zone. But,
yeah.
We'll take it. We got the ball back, and we started going through, running the clock with what would happen on the next 3 downs. And they had, I believe, 2 timeouts, so they killed the clock twice. But the third time they couldn't kill the clock. We knew that. So what we did, we just ran fullback dive 3 times in a row. We weren't going to take any chances of not being able to run that time off that clock or throw the ball and stop the clock or anything like that. So we felt a lot more comfortable with doing that and taking the safety and then, kind of flipping the field position after that. And, it turned out to be the right call, and our kids responded, and Larson came up with another pick to seal the game.
You talked about the seniors turning into leaders. How much did maybe last year help? A couple of years ago, you guys had a really good season when they would have been younger. So I'm sure, last year as they're becoming juniors on the varsity team, they're excited to maybe make their mark, and it didn't go the way that you guys wanted last year. So how much is maybe just their hunger to kind of leave their mark as a senior really help this team?
I think they've had a desire from the start. I mean, last year was a rough year in the sense that we went 2-7. Now, that record's a little bit deceiving. I think we had a decent squad. We just had a very, very tough schedule in who we were playing. I mean, Winnebago and Stillman were very good last year. Lutheran was very good, and a lot of those games we played were close games. And it's frustrating for the kids because they just see the record. But the big thing was just getting in the weight room and keep working at things and chipping away. And our kids have done that and responded and having a great year this year.
The pre-game speech today, I'm a big fan of Hoosiers, the movie, and that's when the coach comes in and says, we don't want to talk about how we're going to move along here in the playoffs, but if we do win this game, we're going to the state finals. Have you thought about what you're going to tell the kids before they go on the field today?
A little bit, not too much. This group is, we've had our meeting already. We met last night and talked to the kids and had a great meeting, and I think they're well aware of the situation. They're well aware of what needs to happen when they go on the field today. So, I don't think at this point it's any big speech from the head coach that's going to make the difference. I mean, our work is pretty much done, and it's time to line up and play the game.
It's going to be cold today. It's going to be wet outside. 2 physical football teams, what's going to be the key to this game today?
Yeah, I think winning in the trenches is really the big thing. And, our kids did that last week, and we need to do the same thing this week. Wilmington, they play great defense. They always do. So the key is going to be, moving the ball and also keeping them in check. They got 2 really, really good running backs, and Mick Williams and Hawkins, and we're going to have to keep those guys in check and move the ball on offense.
And you're on the road today. What do you think about being on the road for a game like that? Do you have to go through Chicago, or do you guys go around it some way?
I think we're going to go south. It's just south of Joliet.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, being on the road, you're going to have to do it at some point in the playoffs. We went week 1 into Chicago in the Gately Stadium, and then we've been fortunate enough to play at home the last 2 weeks, which, really looking at that, you go, gosh, I hope we play Sterling Newman at home and for us. And, now we have to go on the road, and that's just a part of the playoffs. Would we like to have the game at home? Absolutely. But, we'll take playing in the semifinals any day.
Yeah, I was going to say, you go 5-4 in the regular season, but how does it feel to be the last big Northern West team standing?
Feels awesome. It makes me proud to represent such a great conference.
And you look at this, Coach, you get 4 extra weeks of working with those young kids for next year. That's a bonus. I've always heard coaches saying one reason when you have a young team, if you get to play in the playoff run, you get to teach those kids 4 extra weeks. Kind of like having camp for you guys.
Yeah, it is. We have the sophomores up with us, and they're working out with us, so it's a good thing for everybody in the program, no doubt about it.
Well, it's not bad to get those extra practices with the chance to go down state either, I imagine.
No. We like that idea. It's been a while here at Byron since we've been down state. 99 is the last year, so we're looking to get back down there, and the community is excited about it, and looking forward to the opportunity to play today.
Thanks so much, Coach, for taking time today. We appreciate it. We'll be all rooting for the Byron Tigers today. And great run for you guys. Just thanks for being on the show today, too.
Yeah, no problem, Dave. Thanks for having me.
You bet. We've been talking with Byron head football coach Jeff Boyer. I'll tell you what, good for him. I'll tell you, that's the kind of fun watching them.
It is. It's turned into a great special season for them. Again, you look at it, they're 5-4 on the regular season, barely making it into the playoffs, and you're like, well, at least they're going to get a playoff game out of it. Then they win one, you're like, well, hey, good for them. They were able to win a game, and then they win another, and you're like, okay, well, yeah, but now they got Newman, and now they win that one. Now you're a game away from state. This could turn into just such a magic. It already is a magical season for them to have the regular season they had and be where they're at now, and the chance if they were to make it downstate and even win. I mean, what an incredible season that would be.
Well, a lot of people thought Newman was going to win it, so
yeah. So hey, you knocked off the favorite. That puts the target on you now.
And they had to play at Gately Stadium, which isn't a lot of fun for this.
Yeah,
go down there. Hey, we're going to take a time out. We'll be back with more of the State Line Sports Hour in just a moment. You're listening to News Talk 1440 WROK.